Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Well, Wakanda Forever and Black Adam are kind of over. Now, Black Adam, and I keep wanting to call it Black Atom because that's what I thought the name of the character was at first, so if I do that, please forgive me. Black Adam, it has pretty much made all the money it's going to make. It made 167 million domestically, 222 million internationally, which means it's sitting around 388 million, 390 million. It's not going to get to 400 million. So that's a huge disappointment just right there. They were sort of expecting, projecting, assuming around 500 to 700 million, I think, to $1 billion for this film. It was a superhero film led by The Rock, and it was supposed to be redirecting and setting up a new DCEU or something. And it had, the cameo at the end, which I won't spoil in case you actually haven't seen that and watching this first, which I think is pretty unlikely, but I'm still going to be nice about it. Now, the film supposedly cost around 190 to 230 million, although I think The Rock was suggesting that actually they spent about 20 million less on publicity than they did. But so around 200 million, you can guess, is that the budget. So there's no way this film is going to really make any money. Not really. I mean, when you look at the fact that, I think we all know that the cinemas take a big chunk of the money, 40 to 50, sometimes 60%, depending on what country it is. So the studios do not see all of that money. So they're not going to see all of that $380 million. They'll see less than half of that. So there's no way the film is making back its money, its initial run. Now, some of the creative financing that Dwayne was mentioning is that supposedly the advertising was all done by their own companies. So even though they spent $80 to $100 million on promoting the film, they spent all that money on their own company. So the money goes back to them under the whole sort of overall umbrella. I don't really think that counts. If you're just looking at the film box office, the film division lost money. Maybe the ad division made some money, but okay, it's all under the same overall umbrella, but no, that doesn't really count. He's just being creative there. So so the film is going to be struggling to make money. He's claiming it's already made 50 to $70 million. It hasn't. But with all the sales for streaming and TV and DVD and Blu-ray and merchandising and so forth, it will overall make money for the studio, but not a lot, not what they were expecting. Now, Wakanda Forever, because when Wakanda Forever came in, Black Adam sort of stopped making money. And pretty much that's what's going to happen with Avatar. Avatar 2, The Way of Water, is coming in a few days. And even though Wakanda Forever is still making kind of decent money, it's pretty much going to stop for several reasons. Now, Wakanda Forever, that was made on a $250 million budget, so that had to make a fair amount of money to break even as well. Made $409.8 million in the domestic box office, so around $410 million. And it's made $358 million internationally, so it's around $767 million worldwide. So it broke the $7 million sort of level, but I think that's what it made domestically last time, so it was expected to make the same or more, and they were expecting around $1 billion. But considering all the things it had, all the obstacles it had in front of it, the lead actor dying, changing the character, so it's still a Black Panther film, but it's really Wakanda Forever, so it's more about the people dealing with his death and in the absence of him, and there is a lot of emphasis on mourning and so forth, and a lot of that apparently has been handled well. It's very deep and it's a brilliant, beautiful film, but a lot of people don't want to deal with those issues. They just want a popcorn film, they want action, they don't want to deal with death and mourning and so forth, so I think that kind of hurt it. It did well on the weekends. It made 181 the first weekend, 66 million the second weekend, 63 million. So it was a big drop between weekend 1 and 2, but not a big drop between 2 and 3. And then it made 53 million, 45 million, 17 million, and this last weekend it made 11 million. And it's still making around $1 million a day. But unfortunately, one of the things that Avatar is being criticised for is that it's basically they're pushing everyone else out of the cinemas, so all the cinemas are booked for Avatar, so you won't be able to see anything but Avatar over Christmas, basically. And people who still want to see Wakanda Forever are going to have a hard time finding it, because, like I said, it's still making $1 million a day, so that's, 7-10 million a week or something at least. What's that, 7 million plus, if the weekend does a bit more, less than 10, 5 or something, that's still more than 10 a week for at least a couple more weeks. So it's going to, what it would have made. So it's going to lose the money that it would have made if Avatar wasn't, people don't have a choice, and that's one of the criticisms. People don't really have a choice. It's like, oh, what blockbuster do I see this season, this Christmas holiday? Well, there's only Avatar. Is it going to make $200 million in the opening weekend? That's what people are projecting, up from about 170. I don't know. It's got a lot of things helping it. There's nothing else to compete with it except for Avatar, which has been pushed out. So there's that. There's all the hype and the press, and although a lot of the press is saying all the things going wrong and all the things up against it, I don't know, but we'll see in a few days. I just can't wait for the weekend to be over to see what it did and to get an idea of where it's going, to see if it's going to, be able to really create a franchise and build on the success of the first one, or if the first one was just a fluke based on a gimmick. That's what the cynics are saying. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.